All right, North. Welcome back to the Tactics Board. Coach Mahoney here, and this is going to be a little bit longer video. I'm going to try to keep it under 20 minutes, but no promises. We're going to cover team defense on this video here because we've got our first game next Saturday. Today is Sunday the 3rd. First game's on the 9th. First practice is tomorrow, the 4th, 5:30 out at Quonset. And we're going to have to start working these team defensive concepts right out the gate because unlike offense where maybe you can do a few things on just your own, if you got a really talented athlete out there, you can do dodges and score and all that kind of stuff. On the defensive side, if we don't work together as a team, it's very easy to get beaten. And then we're just leaving guys one-on-one with the goalie, and that's not fair to our goalie, all right? So we play a team, we're brothers out there, and we're backing each other up. The defensive scheme that we're going to use is a combination of both an adjacent slide package and a crease slide package. We're going to call it the near man defense. And basically it takes advantage of the guy who's closest to the ball carrier to give support, okay? And so the easiest way I can teach this is to start with the adjacent slide aspect of it, and then we'll bring in the crease slide aspect of it. And what you'll see is our primary slides will typically be adjacent, which means the guy to the next to. Adjacent means next to, basically. So the defender who's next to the ball carrier or the on-ball defender, he's going to be the hot slide, or the one slide as we'll call it. And then everything after that is kind of a backup. So I'm going to start with just a 5-on-5 scenario, and then we'll bring in the crease attackman or crease middie, as the case may be, which is what we will oftentimes see in teams that we're going to play. But so let's talk about who we have on the defensive side. So I'm going to take one of our middies away, okay, because we're going to use just a 5-person scenario right now. And oh, you know what? Well, here. So we're going to use that open concept for our offense to start, and so some other team might as well. It's pretty easy to teach the adjacent concept when you use 6. So we'll use all of our guys. So we got 3 middies playing defense, we got 3 poles playing defense, and we're going to set up the offense in an open set. All right. So that's going to be 1 middie up top, 2 middies on the side, 1 attackman at X, and then 2 attackmen down low. All right, so this is what we would call an open offensive set. It's like a circle, okay? That's why we call it open, because there is nobody, no attackman, offensive player on the crease, okay? So if this is the situation and we say the ball is top left over here, remember top left being left, top of the field on the left side, we're going to set up our defense. So this middie is going to go play on ball. This middie is going to be to his right. This pole is going to be to his left. This middie is going to be covering this middie over here. This pole is covering this attackman over here, and this pole is covering this attackman down here. So let's name these guys. And I'm going to go quickly here. We'll practice all this stuff on the field, but I want you to see it first on the video, and I'm trying to keep it short, so that's why I'm talking fast. This guy's name is I got ball. I'm on ball. I'm on ball. He yells, I'm on ball. He goes out there to play strong defense. The man to his left is called left. You can say hot left, I got your left, I'm left, whatever the case may be. But I want you to say who you are. If you see that the ball carrier is here and you are the next defender to the left of the ball, you are left. I want you to say, I got left, I got left. When you say that, you're saying you're doing a couple different things. It means not only are you responsible to the offensive player to the left of the ball carrier or the next guy who's going to get passed, right? So if this guy were to pass down, you would see approach, play solid defense right here, and you're on ball. Now you become ball, right? You're no longer left. But let's say the ball stays up here. So not only you have to be responsible for playing this man, you are also left support, basically. So if he dodges and beats this man, you are the hot slide. And in a near man or an adjacent scheme, the next man to either side, whichever direction the ball carrier dodges, you are the hot slide or the one slide, okay? The reason we call it the one slide is because there's multiple slides that happens in an adjacent, really any kind of slide package. So let's back this up. The beautiful thing about an open concept, and really part of our near man defense, even if the offense puts a man on the crease, is that the outer ring is still a circle. Yeah, you have a guy on the crease and you have a defenseman assigned to that man, but you still have a circle. And so the reload package, if you will, or the reload concept after a slide is very straightforward. It's just a circle. And what I want you to think of, the reason I call it reloading is because you're reloading the defense to take care of anything else that comes afterwards. So we talked about our on-ball defender. I'm left. I'm right. I'm to right, which means you're the second slide on the right. You're to left, the second slide on the left, and you're 3. Let's talk about what this means. when you are left and you're two left, it means the man you're defending, in this case the ex-attackman, is 1-2 passes away from the ball carrier, okay? If he's two right, he's 1-2 passes away from the ball carrier. It also means that you're responsible for two, you're looking at two guys back here. So you're here, but you're also somewhat responsible for here. Sorry, not here. You're here, this is your assigned man, but you're also responsible for him in case he were to dodge or whatever. But don't worry so much about those aspects of it. It's more about the fact that you're the second slide, okay? So in this instance, we're going to say that the ball carrier is up top. He decides he's going to dodge down the lane or down the alley and try to get cut in this way, okay? So he dodges, he beats his man, all right? So he's got the ball, he's coming around, and he beats his man here. He's like, okay, got it. So the left man here has to fire. He says, fire, he slides, okay? When you slide, when you go on a slide, I want you to yell fire. That way everybody knows that you just went, because they need to know you went, because the reload now has to happen. So the hot slide left, he yelled fire, he went, leaving his man unattended, right? So in order to defend this man, because right now if this guy just pops out and passes down, there's no one to cover him, right? So he's in the middle of his dodge. What happens on a reload, so the hot slide fires, everybody else pushes towards the ball. So the two left becomes the new left. The three back here becomes the two left. The two right becomes the three. The right becomes the two right. And the man who was beaten recovers away from the ball carrier, and now we've set up our defense again. Right? He doesn't have to go very far. He got beat. Just come over here. Because now you're covering this guy. This guy's covering this guy, this guy, this guy. Everybody just circle shifted once as we pushed the whole defense into the ball carrier. So let's look at what that looks like again. So now we'll just say this pulls up here playing defense. This man is who? Left. This man is who? Right. I got left. I got right. Two right. Two left. Three. Okay. Important to notice that the three is not playing his man way out here, okay? And the two right and the two right and the two left are also not playing on their men, okay? We need to be spidered in to the defense until the ball goes boom, boom. Now you get out there and play on ball. But if the ball is two players away from you, you need to be more in towards the house. Remember, we drew that box. House is kind of right here. You should be 1 foot in the house, watching the ball, watching your man, watching the ball, watching your man. All right, open stance to where you can see both, right? So your head's, maybe your head's here, and you've got your stick kind of in the middle, and your vision is here. Okay, don't be looking back this way. That doesn't do us any good. You don't know what your man's doing. So stay open stance so that you can turn your head left and right and see everybody that you need to see. Okay, so let's look at what this looks like again. So ball carrier, and we'll go the other way this time. Let's say he decides to dodge this direction. So if he dodges this way and beats his man, who is the hot slide? Who needs to go? The right needs to fire. He yells fire. He goes. When he goes, he just left his man. Okay, so the two slide has to fill forward and play this man now. Well, so he left his man. So this guy has to rotate. This guy has to rotate. This guy pushes down. And the man who was beaten flows one spot down and is now covering. He's now become the new left, right? So the ball carrier is here. The slide picked him up. And he's now become the new left. This man here is the new right. Two left, three. And we're all set up again. Okay? So again, if you get beaten, in this case, you know, we saw that the ball carrier dodged this way, okay, and beat him right here. The ball carrier is going that way. I want the recovery to wheel away and come back down this way. Recover away, because everybody else is being pushed into the ball carrier, okay? That is the basics of the adjacent slide package. We will practice this many times on the field, but I need you watching this video so you understand the concept of the adjacent slide and the reload, which is what I call the recovery of an adjacent slide package. Okay, so on ball. I got your left, I'm right, two left, three. Now, let's talk about what changes with this when we put someone on the crease. Okay, so when we put somebody on the crease, and we're gonna, teams will do different things. You might see two different looks with that. So you may see guys put their X attackmen up on the crease and float their other two attackmen down low. If they do that, this is what we would call a 1-3-2, right? So one up top, three across the middle, and two down low offensive look. What you might also see is teams put a middie, their top middie here, float him down onto the crease and float these two guys up a little bit higher. That's going to give you a 2-3-1 look. Okay, doesn't really matter what it's called. It's most important that we recognize that there is a guy on the crease. All right, so in this instance, we're going to say that the team we're playing against is using a 2-3-1 look, and we're going to defend it using the near man defense. So we have a defender, and a defender. So our middies are still going to match up with middies. Because we have a man in the house, right? He's no kidding, living in the house now, which makes him the most dangerous guy on the field, except for the dude with the ball, because he doesn't have the ball, so he can't score. But he is very much the next dangerous man on the field. With this being the case, we have to be very wary and understand what happens when we slide and when we leave people. So the nice thing is that when this happens, we still are running a kind of a sense of an open offense, right? We had 6 in the first circle. Now we have 5, but it's still very, very similar depending on how the slide packages go. So ball is top left. I got a hot left. I'm hot right. I'm 2 right. I'm 2 left. I'm crease, okay? This guy's just going to call crease. So now let's take a look and see what happens. If this ball carrier decides to dodge down the alley and he has to initiate a slide. So again, with the near man, we're always going to have the nearest man make that slide happen. In this instance, the first slide's typically going to come from an adjacent player. So let's say he goes down the alley, dodges down this way, beats his man. This man fires, left fires, fire, he comes. All right, what happens? This man's left open now, right? So we have to cover this dude. So he's going to have to flex this way, become the new left. This man has to rotate down a little bit. This man has to rotate in this way. And the guy who was beaten, where does he go? Recovers away from where the ball carrier was going, becomes the new right. Okay, so we've stopped them with the slide. We have a new left, a new right, 2 right, and a 2 left back here, crease. Okay, easy day. Same rotation. Right, reload on an adjacent slide, just reload away from the ball carrier where you got beat, and it's going to push everybody into them and cover up each guy that was left, right? So now let's talk about what happens if our adjacent slide doesn't really work, okay? And there's a lot of reasons why this can happen, okay? Let's say, for instance, this middie just is out, he's playing out here. He's not in a great position as the hot left or hot right, in this case, the hot right. He should be playing here, okay? Because what I don't want to see, even though we're playing man defense, as defenders, you have to always be kind of cheating in towards the middle, okay? Because if your man doesn't have the ball, he's not a huge threat right now. But if you play him right here, you've taken yourself out of an effective defensive position for a couple reasons. If you play him very tightly, as soon as you look away, he can easily cut behind you and he's already beaten you. You have no step to catch up. You have no cushion to react. And so if you play off here, where you should be playing, if he runs a cut, you're going to see him and be able to cover him and go with him on that cut. Okay, if you play right on him, you're not going to be able to do that. So that's one thing. Additionally, if you're here and this man dodges, you're in no position to get over there and provide slide support. Okay, if you're playing your man tightly, this man knows he's got a one-on-one scenario and no slide's going to get to him, at least not from the adjacent. Okay, so you've taken yourself out of that adjacent slide position, so you can't do your job as a left. Okay, so that's the second reason. The third reason is if you play right here. Okay, see this attackman down here? Yeah, he's being covered by this dude, but he's not going to go down here and play him because that doesn't make any sense. Why'd you go play behind the goal? So he's going to stay up in this direction, but he's got a lot of room to move around back here, and he's going to do that. And so if he is moving around and kind of floats up a little bit this way, he can start a dodge, but there's no one here to either slide or to stop what we call a skip pass. If the ball carrier doesn't throw to the man directly to his left or right, but instead skips that man and throws to a different guy across the offense, that's called a skip pass. And if we aren't playing in a solid left or right position, then it's pretty easy to make those passes. If we are playing in a solid left or right position, it's harder for him to make that pass because you're in the passing lane, and that's where we want to be. So you're going to constantly get coaching that tells you, hey, shift in a little bit, shift in a little bit. Be thinking about these skip passing lanes. Same thing goes here. If he wants to skip to this attackman back here, if we're playing a proper right position, he's not going to have the easiest time to do it. At least we'll have an opportunity to knock it down. All right. So, but for the purposes of this example, let's say that our right defenseman, our middie here, he forgot his positioning rules. He forgot where he's supposed to be as a right, and he's saying right, but he's actually well out of position. The middie with the ball sees that and says, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this giant hole in the middle that I see here. And so he dodges down top, beats his man. So where should the slide come from? Well, it should have come from right here, the adjacent right man. He should have been the hot slide, should be firing, but he's not there. This is where the near man concept comes in. He's dodging down the heart of the defense, and the crease defender now has to go. Okay, so in this instance, the crease man yells fire, which means he just left his man, who is now very much the most dangerous guy in the field. And so this defender who's looking at this attackman, but also concerned here, this crease middie has to be covered by the two guys that are back here. So he's dodging down. Now, is there a chance that he passes out over to this dude? Sure, there's a chance, and you're going to need to hustle over there to get to play defense. But I am far more concerned that if you play out here and you play over here and that crease fire goes, this dude's wide open. Nice little easy dump over the top, shot, score. Okay, so the lesson of this video is in a near man defense, the crease slide eventually, the crease will have to fire at some point. The only way that we don't get beaten when that happens is if our other backside defenders are spidered or sloughed in, we call it spidered or sloughed in, towards the middle, in the middle of the house, to cover that crease offensive player when the crease defender leaves, okay, when he goes on that slide. So the question here is, this guy got beat. Where should he go? Okay, so would we reload away? Well, no, because these guys are all still covered. This guy, even though he's out of position, he's covering his man. This guy's covered, this guy's covered, this guy's covered. Where should he go? He needs to recover to the middle. Okay, when the crease slide fires, the guy who got beat needs to come back to the crease. Okay, get back to the middle. So that's going to take a little bit of understanding of how it goes, and what happens. What I would say is the main thing to remember is if you're an on-ball defender and you get beaten, let's say the ball's over here, and you're the on-ball and you get beaten, and he goes down this and you get beaten, and you're like, okay, where do I go? Where do I go? Okay. If you don't remember where to go, or if you're not sure where to go, then what needs to happen is get back to the middle, okay? But what you can't do is just be confused and stay out here, because if you do that, you've taken yourself out of the play. So in an adjacent slide recovery package, we reload away from the ball, and that pushes everybody into the ball, right? Remember that. If the crease defender fires and goes on a slide, then the guy who got beat needs to come back to the middle. Okay, it's going to be a little confusing at first, and maybe what we'll come up with is a way to understand, or a way to know when that crease defender has gone, so that you can hear something different, whether it's crease fire or, we'll come up with something. But at the end of the day, if you were the on-ball defender and you got beaten and you don't know what to do, get back to the house. Okay, when you come back to the house, a pole is likely going to tell you where to go. In this instance, let's say you got beaten. This ended up sliding this way. This guy comes over here. He stays on this defense, and everybody is rotating because there's an adjacent slide. You should be going back this way, but let's say you got confused and you don't remember. As you come back this way, you're like, okay, you're recovering in the middle. That's great. This pole is going to bump. He's going to say, bump out, bump top left. At that point, now you're here. He'll tell you where to go. Okay, so if you don't remember where to go, then come back to the middle, and a defender is going to tell you where to go. All right, so that's team defensive in a nutshell. A little bit shorter than my first attempt at this, so hopefully it's not too long. I need you guys to watch it and understand it. Middies, this is Very important for you, okay? You've got 3 different lines of midfielders. Every one of you needs to understand the slide and recovery and reload packages that were just discussed in this video. Because if we don't, as a team, understand the defensive scheme, then it doesn't work and we start falling apart and there's big holes that can be exploited. So watch the video a couple times, ask questions at practice. We're going to break it down into smaller drills and you guys will get it. And then we'll start playing some really solid defense and things will be great. So that's all I got for this one. Speed, honor, north. I'll see you on the field.